Grand Rising, Grand Rising. Peace, Copper Color Queen. Peace, Original Tiller. Giving everyone some time to come in this rising. How you doing, TMH? Yeah, just sending links out real quick. Grand Rising, Doodle Vision. Peace. Did you reselect it? Let me see. Stop the music in the background and see if it's showing it now. Let's see. Yeah, pick that on. See if it shows the signal coming in when you speak. Mic check, 1 2 1 2. All right. Yeah, give us some ones if y'all can hear us, and let me know if y'all can hear TMH speaking as well. You're getting the audio right real quick. And you say your audio input capture isn't showing anything. And when you go to it, it shows you your mic in there. They said it's just hearing you now. I mean, just hearing me. All right. Don't worry, appreciate that, y'all. We getting the audio and stuff right. I'm sending resending the link to No Sellout because he said you need it resent again. I'm emailing it to you now. That's why moving forward, we're making an announcement that we're getting ready to move from YouTube so we don't have to deal with these complications when we're bringing out the information. Because there's a lot of times and a lot of stuff that we have to help our people that some of the forces that be, not being paranoid and nothing like that, just don't want it to be out like that. And sometimes it's the people that's around you as well. So it's moving forward so we can make sure we keep bringing our communities this needed information, that we can keep showing how the application of this helps and how it works. We will be moving this to our own platform to where no one can mess with the signal, audio, video anymore. We will move forward, post particular clips on YouTube so people can find us on our own platform. And we'll be spending the rest of the week sharing links and stuff. Most of you already know about the website, because moving forward, you'll always be able to catch us on the website and Twitch TV. And as we add on more outlets that we control, what we put on there, we'll be letting you know. All right, no sellout, that link is sent to you. Oh, you said you only got the one machine there, huh? All right, yeah, you can go into the audio from one, yeah, since they want to give you the hard time. Peace, Antonio. Just getting everything reset up. And today, if you haven't seen the title, we will be going back through the 1968 Fair Housing Act. And it's adding a little bit on the build that we had last night. So if you missed it and we don't have to spend so much time going back, repeating the same things over and over, you can go back and you can catch that one. It's the breaking news from last night, to where there's a lot of information that you can use on what we'll be touching on this Rising show. And as well, we had a call-in number at the top. So moving forward, you know, people have questions, want to call in. The number's at top, it shows you the meeting ID. So feel free if you have questions pertaining on what we're doing. Now, like we're saying again, if it's keep it respectful, courteous, we had no problem. We all adults here, and that's how we're gonna carry ourselves. Tonyo said he gonna call in and talk like R. Kelly. Nah, 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 nah. Oh, nah, nah. Let me leave that man alone.
All right.
Peace, no sellout. All right, y'all, give me some, no sellout, you can speak, because we want to make sure we got the sound and everything right.
What's up?
1 2 1 2.
Mic check, mic check.
All right, let me know if y'all can hear no sellout out there. Let me know if you can hear TMH now.
Check.
Yeah, y'all should be able to hear me, because I can hear
Yeah,
you.
I just heard myself clear my throat.
Let me clear my throat.
Don't do that.
Grand Rising Black Indian Immigrated, Grand Rising Pamela Hall. Antonio said, we got everybody. We got everybody. And like we saying again, this rising, we will be touching on or retouching on the 1968 Fair Housing Act. And yes, we know people have touched on it and did bills and stuff on it before, but there's a lot of things that been missed, a lot. So we'll be breaking it down and going through with you.
That's an understatement.
Posting the link to where we'll be reading from now. We figure how the order we want to do it. You want to do about first, then the history, or the history or the about?
Say again?
No, the order or how we're going to break it down to them. The about first on what it is, or the history. Yeah, we'll do the about first. I was getting the pages ready just in case anybody want to read it. Posting it in the chat now.
And due to vision, we have a link sent to you just in case you want to come on and anything you want to share with us.
Yeah, if we miss anything, you know, we want to make sure we present it right.
And also make sure we stay on code.
Yep. Peace, Mark Walton. Just posted in the chat the first page that we'll be reading from in the Fair Housing Act. And yes, it is no mistake. That is the page that we're reading from dealing with the Fair Housing Act. Y'all about ready to go in?
Grand Rising Free.
Peace.
Yeah, I'm ready when you're ready.
All right. I'm going to start off here about the FHEO, HUD's Office of Fair Housing and Equality Opportunity, works to eliminate housing discrimination, promote economic opportunity, and achieve diverse, inclusive communities. And this is from the About section from the HUD.gov site. The mission of the Office of Fair Housing and Equality Opportunity is to eliminate housing discrimination, promote economic opportunity, and achieve diverse, inclusive communities by leading the nation in the reinforcement, administration, development, and public understanding of federal fair housing policies and laws. The laws implemented and enforced by the FHEO include the Fair Housing Act, Title V of the Civil Rights Act of 1964, Section 109 of the Housing and Community Development Act of 1974, Section 504 of the Rehabilitation Act of 1973, Titles 1 and 2 of the Americans with Disabilities Act of 1990, the Architectural Barriers Act of 1968, the Age Discrimination Act of 1975, which is Title IX of the Educational Amendments Act of 1972, Section 3 of the Housing and Urban Development Act of 1968. Some of the FHEO's activities include investigating fair housing complaints, conducting compliance reviews, ensuring civil rights in the HUD programs, managing fair housing grants. And that is the about and what they're responsible for. Anything I want to touch on that part?
Well, I'm reading what's in the chat, and Antonio talking about something. This about to speed up my heart rate. Wow. At the end of the day, it's about, and Bones has always touched on this, there's no good talking about things that we can't put into application now. History is good. History is phenomenal, but it's not going to feed our family. It's not going to allow us, our tribes, to be self-sufficient. So what can we do now, today, to start moving towards that direction? So here's the start. It's just a start. But these are things that we can start doing and paying attention to, helping not only ourselves, but our tribe, which is basically what we've been talking about from the beginning.
And Antonio, yeah, the thing with the Gov website, remember what we're telling you. The government is your ancestors. Let's not fall into the trap that where they made us hate ourselves and our ancestors so much that we don't take the time out to read and realize that the conditions, I'm going to say it again, that the majority of us was raised up in never had to be this way. That our children out here struggling, a lot of us who came from broken homes did not have to go this way. Okay, so before we sit here and don't listen and pay attention, and it's not just directed at Antonio, this is to everyone out there. It's time to put the hard hats on. Let's get these seatbelts on and we finna break this down. The ink has already been dried.
Due to Vision said, the codes towards liberation are in the codes.
In the codes. Now we finna show you what the real codes are. I know, Antonio, you know I know. I'm posting it up the history page now and finna go through the history of the fair housing. All right, it states on April 11th, 1968, President Lyndon Johnson signed the Civil Rights Act of 1968, which was meant as a follow-up to the Civil Rights Act of 1964. The 1968 expanded on previous acts and prohibited discrimination concerning the sale, rental, and financing of housing based on race, religion, national origin, sex, and has amended handicapped and family statuses. This is Title 13 of the Act is also known as the Fair Housing Act of 1968. The enactment, no, that's Title 8, my bad. The enactment of the Federal Housing Act, the enactment of the Federal Fair Housing Act on April 11, 1968 came only after a long and difficult journey. From 1966 to 1967, Congress regularly considered the Fair Housing Bill, but failed to garner a strong enough majority for its passage. However, when the Reverend Dr. Martin Luther King Jr. was assassinated on April 4, 1968, President Lyndon Johnson utilized his national tragedy to urge for the bill's speedy congressional approval. Since the 1966 open house marches in Chicago, Dr. King's name had been closely associated with the fair housing legislation. President Johnson viewed the act as filtering memorial to a man's life work and wished to have the act passed prior to Dr. King's funeral in Atlanta. It states more, another significant issue during this time period was the growing casualty list from Vietnam. The deaths in Vietnam fell heaviest upon young, poor, quote unquote, African American and Hispanic infantrymen. However, on the home front, these men's families could not purchase or rent homes in certain residential developments on account of their race or national origin. Specialized organizations like the NAACP, the National Association of Real Estate Brokers, the GI Forum, and the National Committee Against Discrimination in Housing lobbied hard for the Senate to pass the Fair Housing Act and remedy its inequity. Excuse me. Senators Edward Brooke and Edward Kennedy of Massachusetts argued deeply for the passage of this legislation. In particular, Senator Brooke, the first African-American ever to be elected to the Senate by popular vote, spoke personally on his return from World War II, an inability to provide a home of his choice for his new family because of his race.
Stop right there. So, for all those who've been listening to us talk about the Indian Wars.
Yep.
And us fighting on behalf of the Europeans, whether it was side of the British, the French, or the Spanish, and how after the wars, there was always a treaty that was enacted, then mysteriously not honored. So let's look at this Vietnam War. It said the deaths in Vietnam fell heaviest upon poor, melanated, and Hispanic infantrymen.
Mm-hmm.
Anybody knows anything about the military, the infantrymen are the frontline forces that do the majority of their fighting. using weapons, mano a mano, or what have you. So it's the same thing that was happening in the 60s that were happening in the 1500s, the 1600s, 1700s, and the 1800s. This time, upon the passing of Dr. Martin Luther King Jr., this bill got passed. The question is, how come we didn't know about it? How come nobody told us?
The one thing that he marched for and told you he was going to go get, that they got. This has been since 1968, relatives. 1968 is 2019.
Due Division says Vietnam War equals genocide of Indians while in Asia.
Because who dominates the military infantry? Always have, still to this day. Who's on them front lines?
Us. So, is this starting to make sense to y'all now? If not, go ahead, Bones, keep reading, please.
And on it said, with the city's rioting after Dr. King's assassination and destruction mounting in every part of the United States, the words of President Johnson and congressional leaders rang the bell of reason for the House of Representatives, who subsequently passed the Fair Housing Act without debate. The Senate followed the House in its passage of the act, which President Johnson then signed into law. The power to appoint the first official administrator that administrating that act fell upon President Johnson's successor, Richard Nixon. President Nixon tapped the governor of Michigan, George Romney, for the post of Secretary of Housing and Urban Development. President Nixon tapped then Governor of Michigan, George Romney, Governor of Michigan, listen to these names, George Romney, for the post of Secretary of Housing and Urban Development. While serving as governor, Secretary Romney had successfully campaigned for ratifications of a state congressional provision that prohibited discrimination in housing. President Nixon also appointed Samuel Simmons as the first Assistant Secretary for the Equal Housing Opportunity.
Pause, please. Due Division says George Romney is
Romney's dad. Yep. So where do you think this money coming from? Haven't we been trying to tell you that they know who they are, but we just don't know who we are? Haven't we been trying to tell you that the majority of your high-ranking political leaders and families tie back into tribes on this land? Whether it's through marriage, blood, birth, they're tying back in and they know who they are. They have their documents and we don't. Y'all let us know y'all still with us this rising, please, because we ain't trying to leave nobody. Let me get some ones up in that chat to make sure everybody's still with us right now. I ain't trying to leave nobody.
That's right. Romney equals Mormons.
And don't the Mormons sit on the records of genealogy and lineage the most? Oh. We just didn't throw a stick of dynamite in that one, did we?
I don't know. You tell me. Antonio says, but on what side are they tying in? Well, they have to tie in on the side of the mothers. If you're melanated and both your parents are melanated, excuse me, I'm listening to myself and trying to talk at the same time. So it sounds like I'm almost inebriated, but I'm not, I promise.
I went through the same thing. I had to turn one of them off and I can't do this.
So they tie in through their mother. We tie in through both sides. If you have two melanated parents, mom and father. Because your dad has a mom.
Hmm.
So it doesn't matter. But the reason why the tribe stress that it goes through the mother, because remember, most of the individuals tying in can only go through the mother because their father or their father's side is European. It doesn't tie in. That's not the situation for us. We're Indian on both sides. So it doesn't matter, if that makes sense.
That's why we tell you genealogy, lineage is very, very important. It is the first key to unlocking the door to who you are, to accessing what was left for who you are.
And also too, if you think about the last minority that were given civil rights, is also tied into this bill. I'm gonna let that sink in too.
We also told y'all who they were, what, almost a month ago?
Yep.
Who was the last group to get their rights in the country? Who? Who really benefit off of affirmative action? Who makes sure in every act that we're in that they're submitted right along with us to make sure they get the majority of the benefits? Come on now.
Antonio reads, so you're saying full-blooded versus mixed blood. People like the Romneys know they're aboriginally mixed. Well, it's not versus. It's just how you tie in.
That's it.
You either tie in on your mother's side because your father's side is European and can't tie in, or you tie in on both sides. Remember, let's get the skin color thing out of our head.
Yeah, it had nothing to do with skin color, Antonio, and it had nothing to do with obviously the mix were given a better step. No.
And we appreciate you for clarifying.
Mm-hmm.
Clarifying, excuse me.
That this system is our ancestors' system. And the reason why we get bucked in it a lot, because we are not minding our business. We must stop looking to try to blame everybody else. We must take acceptance. The reason why we don't know about this, because the powers and the leaders that a lot of our people voted into place wasn't doing their due diligence. Let's keep this 100. We was too busy in the 80s and 90s trying to party, not trying to know any of this. While these people make sure that they know, they make sure that they're teaching their children the loopholes, how to use this system. When we're teaching our children how to crip walk, how to roll a joint instead of writing and reading and knowing critical thinking. Let's keep it 100, relatives. I'm not going to play with you.
Also, too, our own people were not letting us know this is the money that they were using, aka Nipsey Hussle. Uh-oh.
Oops.
Go back and do some research.
Yeah, go back and look. We told you last night. Why do you think there's Walmarts in your hood? Why do you think every NFL stadium is in the hood? No, you can't even say that because y'all gotta remember this with education. Didn't us and them read from the same books?
Yep.
So we have to stop making these excuses. We all went to the same schools. We must choose to do better. We must choose to do better. Nino, what was that Soldier Field before they did the improvements? Before they did the upgrades? Do the history. Do the history. All these stadiums were put in our areas, our neighborhoods. That's how they get the benefits of constructing there.
James says, Do the Vision says, it's sunny side eggs versus pancakes. Sunny side up eggs are white on one side and tan on the other, while pancakes are copper on both sides.
Perfect analogy. Thank you. Thank you. I couldn't have thought of it better.
That's crazy.
And Nina says, no, compulsory education and indoctrination is not the same.
Yes, they are.
Okay. So Nino, let's look at it this way. What normally happens when individuals go to a university and they join a fraternity?
Mm-hmm. What happens?
Hazing.
Well, besides the hazing, they normally get involved in activities or non-profits like fraternities.
Which are non-profits if you look up fraternities now.
Well, if you looked at the link that I sent you yesterday, you'll see that fraternities and sororities are 501c. So what happens is these individuals get a certain education and information and sworn to secrecy that they can't tell you because it's sacred. There's that word again.
Sacred.
Sacred. You have to be a part of it to get access to it. So they're sworn to secrecy not to tell you. Elected officials, fraternities, organizations.
And ain't most fraternities members picked by family? It's just a collection of families that's passing this information down one generation to the next, to the next, to the next. Come on, man. Where them hard hats at?
So the tribes have, in some instances, changed names. And they're not telling you anything. They're people that you work with. They're your neighbors. In many cases, your family members.
Yeah.
He says, I split up on accidents. I'm saying the elites have a liberal education and they dictate the curriculum.
You got a liberal education too. Everybody has a liberal education. Don't let that fool you. Because in order for this to work, everybody has to be under the same indoctrinized spell. The only difference is in their fraternities and separate organizations, because we have them too. That's where a lot of this information is pushed back and forth and sworn to keep in these organizations. It's the same education. That's the only way this can work. You gotta dumb everybody down to make this work. Turn people against each other to make this work.
So we can either continue to blame people or get to work.
Let's get this work. I'm finna go in and finish reading some more.
Hold on, let me say this
okay.
first.
All right, go ahead. Let me
New Division says, every college degree at its core is a liberal arts degree.
Don't take our word for it, just look it up. We always giving you sources and everything to find out where we getting this information from. You don't have to spend a whole week to dig to find this. Everything we telling you is public information. It has always been right in front of our faces, always. It's not hidden.
At the end of the day, you don't have to believe us.
You don't got to believe nothing we say.
But this is what I challenge anybody on, because remember, this is my department. I know constitutions. I know bylaws. Go look up the bylaws and constitution of any fraternity or sorority, and then come back and holler at me.
I dare you. Just go look at them. Matter of fact, do 5 of them. Look at 5 of them, and then come back and have this conversation with us.
It's public knowledge. It's not hidden.
None of this stuff you need to be no so-called quote-unquote scholar to know. We need to cut all this foolishness out. It's public information. If you want to keep something from somebody, you put it right in front of their face, because you're going to spend so much time looking for the fairy tale on why you're in this situation instead of realizing you're in this situation because you refuse to do your due diligence. Let's stop making excuses and blaming and take responsibility.
Apocella Queen, you're correct. Churches are included in that also if they're getting funded. They're 501c as well.
Like we told you, the NFL is one nonprofit, grossing in $13.7 billion a year. Don't take our word for it. That's public knowledge.
I sent the link yesterday.
We done read it on the air a couple of times. Explain to me why every major Fortune 500 is attached to a nonprofit. Huh? Come on now. Y'all say y'all we digging, let's do some real digging. Why do Fortune 500s? Why the Clintons have the largest? The Clinton Foundation, embezzling money to criminals and stuff through the foundation. Come on now, public knowledge. Ain't none of this hitting. Stop being entertained.
Now you're asking the right questions, Nino. What are hospitals? It's public knowledge. Type in a name, look it up.
And see where I got formed. See where the funding come from. See what land that hospital is built on. I mean, we giving you what we telling you. We pointing you there.
That's right. Bill and Melinda Gates Foundation donated over $40 billion to that foundation. Only pay 10% in taxes. But that money goes towards an endowment for a university to pay for a building and a professor. Don't believe me? Look it up.
Look it up. Look it up. We have people on staff that's working with the colleges. So we're not just telling you something to tell you something. We are getting this work done.
Due Division says they are tied into HUD as well.
Yes, they are. But like we're going to say again, don't take our word for it. Y'all complain that foreigners come in your neighborhood and wondering how they get the finances to open up these stores and stuff around us. They're using the same HUD funds because they're moving and building it around us. Why you don't see no corner Arab stores and that's not even picking that down. I'm just showing you. You notice you don't see these corner community stores in their neighborhoods? The things that's in our neighborhoods, you don't see in their neighborhoods. When the last time one of you seen a liquor store in their neighborhood? I'll wait.
Nino asks a good question. He says, but ain't what you supposed to do with your wealth, create a corporate entities and spread out your wealth? That's facts. But private foundations don't have to spread out wealth.
No.
The private foundation can be so specific. It can be dedicated to one purpose, one family, one entity, or one person. How's that spreading anything?
It's our ancestor system that's being used against us. We need to learn how it works. Stop the speculation. It's all public knowledge. It's the application we suffer from, not the knowledge of the information anymore. It's the ability to apply it in our real lives as of right now.
Money has always been moved around. It never stopped.
Money's no good if it sits in your pocket. See, that's our people problem. If your money isn't making money for you, it's worthless. It isn't anything. That's why we sit here and talk business. That's why we break down these things, because it's always have been business. Never personal. This is business. You don't even have to be slick with it, because nobody pays attention. They had these big foundation dinners, $5,000 a plate. People in there writing couple of million, couple of $100,000. What you think going on? They just taking money that they got for this, this, and this, putting it over there in this person's foundation. Then this person, 6 months down the line, have another thing, write another check back. What do you think going on?
So Nino asked a question. That's a good question. And it's the right question. He says, what is tax evasion? Well, let me ask you this. If you're tax exempt, what are you evading? If you are for profit, then that's a different story, right?
Yep. Nonprofits don't pay tax. They're tax exempt. Like you broke down before, the 501c3 is just a code to become tax exempt.
I know, Nino. No one can hear you, so we're reading what you're typing. It's all good.
Mm-hmm. Yeah, that's all we're doing. Now, is it marinating in relatives? Can you start seeing the direction that we're trying to do? Now you understand why we say do your genealogy, tie back into the land, find your tribe, and we will help you help your tribe. Why we sit here and tell you we're not afraid of anyone. We will walk in here where these foreigners at, get these funds, bring these finances back to the American Indians and the tribe, and together we will rise again.
Why take money out the community when there's money for us through HUD?
Mm-hmm.
Through all these other organizations who are willing to give it. All we have to do is be set up right.
Mm-hmm. It's in the structure of it, the discipline. We must be structured and disciplined.
Like our ancestors were.
Structured and disciplined. That's our biggest issue. And that falls on self. The mechanisms have always been here. Now you understand why we sit here and bang on people. And I won't even say bang, because that we don't even do that. We're speaking out on people coming in our communities, thinking that you can take from our people, when we know there's mechanisms that's designed that if you did it right and honorably, that you won't have to take a dime from no one in the community and still provide services and help the Indian become self-sufficient. That's why we see again, ask questions. People receiving finances from you and this and that going on, but you can't see the improvements in your community. Oh, people say this work costs. So you're gonna charge people because you're getting information that's already been out here. You're just presenting it to where everybody can get it. We ain't have to go buy no $1,000 books to get this. This is right on the government website. Ain't that right, RTMH?
Yeah, sorry about that. I muted myself.
Yeah, no problem, no problem.
No, but you're right. It's right on the website. The problem is we've always had Indians, our own people, keeping information from us or pointing us in another direction, telling us we should stay away from 501c. But did anybody ever go look up a 501c?
No, they didn't.
I dropped a link last night. How many people looked at it?
Huh?
How many people did the research?
Huh?
How many people saw there were already 40 different 501cs?
I did. I did. I don't know about them.
How many people saw that insurance companies could be 501cs?
Huh?
How many people saw that? Say again?
No, to even make it easier for them, don't they know? They don't see the mission statement when it runs across that Autonomous Assembly is a nonprofit organization. So y'all think we just telling you this? We're actually applying it while we're doing it.
See, that's what indoctrination does for you.
That is right in front of your face that y'all don't see exactly what we're telling you. We're doing it in front of you to show you it's real. But people caught up in the hype and the drama. Not here.
Indoctrination keeps you from asking your own people questions. Indoctrination makes you think that once you get some information, you done learning. Indoctrination makes you think that because you can do some reading, you know everything and there's nothing else to learn. Indoctrination makes you feel that you now have to separate from the system because the system is the problem, not you. Indoctrination makes you selfish.
Yes,
Indoctrination makes you blame everybody else. Indoctrination is a problem.
Yes, it is.
Not the solution.
Mm-hmm. And now y'all understand why we take the position that we take. Like we said before, we're not gonna allow no one to use this against our people, because it's been used against us for so long. Where you have people that want to take these things and charge our people forward. I say again, this is a time in this assembly where the real work gets done. We don't have time for playing. All of y'all watch this, build this right in front of your eyes, and it's not for no reason, and it's definitely not for no YouTube views. We love our people and don't care what anybody else has to say or get in the way, because what we told you, if you get in the way, we will run you over. No one's going to stop us from doing our mission, from what we are really here to do. Last night, no, if y'all want to find out some more information, just rewatch the episode from last night. That would be my best advice for you. Just rewatch it, because like I said, moving forward on what the mechanisms and things that we are here to do, you won't be finding us on YouTube. You will be finding us on our own independent platforms, so we can make sure this information is in the right hands and don't get used wrongly. So moving forward, I'll tell you now, by Monday, you're not going to find us doing shows on here. You'll find probably 2-3 minute clips. Starting the next Rising on Monday, we will be on our own platform at autonomousassembly.com.
And can you explain why, please?
And it's mainly because going to our own platform, can't nobody limit the information. Or like y'all see certain episodes we do and we trying to share stuff, signals and stuff get wacky. Sounds get cut out. This information is too valuable for that. We don't need to give this to YouTube on a third-party platform. Now YouTube owns the information that we put out and can limit how many of our people can hear it and have access to it. Because that's what's going on now. We don't stand here and talk about being self-sufficient with our hands out. We're standing here being self-sufficient while we're being self-sufficient.
The division says State Farm runs through the prism as a 501c.
Yes, it does.
An insurance company that you thought was a for-profit entity. By law, they don't have to tell you they're tax exempt. Why? Because they're minding their business.
Let me blow the lid off of this real quick. Relatives, y'all remember they were going after Trump for his taxes?
Oh my gosh.
Y'all remember this, right? He still ain't shown nothing yet. Do y'all want to know why? Let's rewind the picture. Wasn't Donald Trump in a lawsuit against housing discrimination? So obviously, if he was building housing, where was them funds coming from? I'm finna say it again. If Donald Trump in the 80s was in housing law suits, being sued for housing discrimination, where did the funds come from for him to build these projects in New York?
Test question.
Huh? Come on now. Throw some answers out in the chat.
I'll give you a hint. The answer is easy. Duh. Backwards is
HUD.
maybe.
Could it be? Could it be the majority of your wealthy families get that way because they use HUD funding to build? Oh my goodness.
Do Division says State Farm equals Mormons.
Yes, it do.
How are we getting access to our genealogy?
To the Mormons? Ha! Come on, man. Well, no, so I said, they don't look like Indians to me. He wasn't saying that just to be saying that, relatives. Why do you think he giving them people a hard time now? Running them off of land because he know it doesn't belong to them. Are we going to forget the first thing he did when he got in office? Ran them people off that land and put that pipeline up? Come on, man.
Don't y'all remember Dan Calloway dropping a video about how some of the Cherokee leadership is under indictment for receiving funds for living on the reservation and living in London?
Yeah. Who do you think them funds were for? How do you think? What do you think they're getting them for? Huh? 1968, this has been in effect. When people sit here and want to call Dr. King a traitor, a sellout, throw his name and his family up under the bus, are we also going to forget in the 90s that his family sued the United States Army and government and won the lawsuit for his wrongful death? But we don't read though. We're too busy trying to turn up.
No, we're too busy being indoctrinated, thinking we know everything, thinking the government is the problem, not realizing it's the Indians right next to us who look exactly like us. That's the problem. Diverting our attention away from the facts, the truth, the information. No, don't get a 501c. Don't do that. Don't do that. Why would somebody tell you not to do that?
Yeah, run away from the system. Oh, turn in your birth certificate, your identifications and all that. Really? Really? You're going to do everything possible to take you further and further away from your ancestors, but you love and respect the ancestors.
But everything you do disrespects them.
Matter of fact, TMH, who's responsible for this whole sovereignty thing? What racial group is responsible for this?
The Klan?
So all y'all out here talking about starting your own tribes, putting land in trust, talking about, oh, you can't stand the pale face. Guess whose system you're following?
The Klan.
We already talked about that, didn't we?
Yeah.
Guess who you're following?
The Klan.
Guess who you're trying to emulate?
The Klan. Wait a minute. Aren't they a 501c?
Yes, they are.
Wow. Oh, man.
Why do you think the Klan can have rallies, stomp on people, hurt people, damage property? Anybody running up in them offices, snatching them out of there?
And be protected when they march.
But you ain't, and all you doing is standing there with a cardboard sign in your head, looking like Willie Lump Lump 5 minutes later.
You getting lump.
A couple of them Jones.
We ain't here to play with you. And like you've been with told, don't come here for the feel-good stories. We're going to tell you the truth.
Due Division says foreigners started sovereignty group.
Yeah. Why? Because the ones who came over here that didn't have parents from here, they couldn't get access to ours. So what are you doing in the situations?
Uh-oh. Somebody don't like what you're saying, Bones. They messing with your video. Your auto feed. Oh, and another reason why we're getting away from YouTube, because if somebody's trying to hack or get access to our private website, now we can bring in lawyers. Now we can expose you. See, through a third-party site, we got to go through third party. You mess with my site, oh, I can come for you. And when I come for you, there's going to be nothing left. That's another reason why
that ain't
we're going to sites that we own, that we control. I'm sorry.
You all right. You all right.
So you got some hacking ability? We got some bracelets for you. Come on, Cletus.
Some cold ones.
Due Division said David Duke took over Louisiana and had as the head of the Klan. Yeah, nonprofit. Free says that makes total sense. Why would anybody at Tottenham want to be separated from their land? Because they're listening to people who give themselves titles like chief or what have you. And because they have a platform and a following, people follow them without checking their credentials. And they say something like, well, we were here first, so we have right to the land. I got 2 words: roll call. Come in my class and try to get on my land. We got some bracelets for you.
Hey, what more can you say about it?
This is, take it how you want to take it. I have said it before and I'm going to say it again. For all of you who have and who are planning on using this information to profit personally, I am personally making it my mission to run you down. I got nothing better to do. The days of taking from our people are over. I don't care about name, your title, who you think you are. And just to add on the same thing what TMA said, I'm gonna take it here. We got too much of that now that we let go. Fake chiefs, because people put that on their name. Should be ashamed of yourself, because we shouldn't even support that. How you gonna say that you love the ancestors and you sitting here calling people by these created names? That ain't our ancestors' way. These people ain't voted in. These people ain't being held accountable for the conditions of their community. Most of them are not even known in their community. Most of them on the run. The majority of them got jammed up in housing schemes and stuff. I'm finna give it 100. I don't have time to play. Tomorrow not promised to no one. And I'm saying it now. If you're standing in the way of the American Indian, you must go. I don't care how you feel. Hold everybody accountable.
Feelings is what got us in the first places. Feeling you deserve something that you don't, or that you didn't earn, or because you put in some work. So you're just gonna call yourself chief. So basically, you're gonna disrespect my chief and anybody else who belongs to a tribe. You disrespecting their chief by calling yourself chief.
Chief. Really?
Self-appointed chief?
Yeah.
Really? And this goes to everyone. We must start calling this out. Because if you sit back and you allow this to happen, you are just as guilty. You are the problem as well. You keep pushing it on, getting in the way. Like I said before, we done heard all type of stuff thrown our way in back chats and this and that. Oh, we only been here a couple of months. Oh, these people are the first. They've been here 2, 3 years, 5 years. So if that's the case, you're mad because we came in and doing the work and trying to help the people. And this basic information that's right in front of your face, they not even telling you, but they want you to pay for it. Haven't we paid enough? All we asking you is to get back on code. Pick up where our ancestors left off. Do for the next generation what King and them did for us. We have ancestors that got beat down for this. Now it's up to us, now that we know, to get on code. Everybody, again, in the sound of this voice, you have a neighborhood, you have a city. We start one person at a time in our households and watch the change take over. But make no mistake about it. If you're a pretendian, a YouTube warrior, out here pushing this same BS that been going on, want to argue about this and that ain't gonna help nobody, you will get ran over.
James put in the chat, to claim to be a autochthonous, but remove yourself from the land is like an airplane with no air. chief equals one that was appointed by election or death. So, who died and made you chief?
We want to know, because I have a tribe. And I'm not disrespecting my ancestors by answering to nobody by no false title. Forget your feelings. If that's the title that you want, that's the kind of funny thing. People run into them titles and don't know the responsibilities. Okay, all you self-proclaimed chiefs, why are your people still struggling? Where's your emissaries that's talking to the governments and stuff, getting resources? Where's that? Where's your council? Matter of fact, where's your members? Where's your tribe? Are you making it up as you go? These are the things that get in the way that makes it harder for us to do our job, because with so many people cluttering and clouding what's real and what's not.
So when April 1969 arrived, HUD could not wait to celebrate the Act's first anniversary. Within their inaugural year, HUD completed the Title VII Field Operations Handbook and instituted formalized complaint process. In truly festive fashion, HUD hosted a gala even in the grand ballroom of New York's Plaza Hotel. From across the nation, advocates and politicians shared in the marvelous evening, including one of the organizations that started it all, the National Committee Against Discrimination in Housing. So let's look at this. HUD hosted a gala event in a grand ballroom of New York's Plaza Hotel. Now, this is why foreigners are able to access your money. From across the nation, advocates and politicians shared in this marvelous evening. Embassies who we have treaties with know about this act.
And if you're from a foreign country, before you come over here, what's the first place you go to? Your embassy? And when they come over here, don't they go to their embassy for them to come in here and get situated with the system, and they let them know how to maneuver and how to move around in America? Come on, man.
Why is it that when some foreigners come over here, they can start a business? And when some foreigners come over here, they have to get on the system. I'm gonna continue reading. In subsequent years, the tradition of celebrating Fair Housing Month grew larger and larger. Governors began to issue proclamations that designated April as Fair Housing Month, and schools across the country sponsored poster and essay contests that focused upon fair housing issues. Regional winners from these contests often enjoyed trips to Washington, D.C. for events with HUD and their congressional representatives. Under former Secretaries James T. Lynn and Carla Hills, with the cooperation of the National Association of Home Builders, National Association of Realtors, and the American Advertising Council, these groups adopted fair housing as their theme and provided free billboard space throughout the nation. These large 20-foot by 14-foot billboards placed the fair housing message in neighborhoods, industrial centers, agrarian regions, and urban cores. Even regional also had its own celebrations, meetings, dinners, contests, and radio television shows that featured HUD, state, and private fair housing experts and officials. These celebrations continue to spirit behind the original passage of the act and are remembered fondly by those who are there from the beginning, or those who were there from the beginning. So this is what Dr. Martin Luther King meant when he said, we're coming to get our check.
Make no mistake about it.
The problem is our own brothers and sisters are intercepting the check and keeping you from it. No different than the tribes interfering with fur trading and all the other trades based on land grants, access to water rights, and teaming up with the Europeans to further separate us. James said, that's why foreigners call us lazy and slackers. They think we know about the same grant opportunities that they get through night schools when they enter this land.
Facts.
So they get educated, we don't.
Because they have representatives in their country. They already told you, they had a big gala extravaganza. So where these embassies, they know about the opportunities here.
So why don't we know?
Because we too busy trying to become sovereign citizens and turn in our paperwork and birth certificates and all this back to the government. What is that doing? Absolutely nothing but jamming you up. Because now you need this information to prove who you are, to access what's left for you. What can you do? Outside looking in.
But because you claim you were here first and you don't have to prove anything to anybody, that you
so
can
all
just
of us, so all of us who have families and stuff, who put in the work, time back in, we shouldn't feel no way for people that don't want to do any work, that don't want to find their real family, who just want to sew up and be like, this is mine. So the hard work that my relatives put in, I'm just supposed to let you just seize that. Ain't that the same thing that the colonizers did?
Sounds like it to me.
So are you an Indian? Or are you a colonizer? Sound like colonization to me. Okay, what you look like.
Hold on. Let's look at this from a what's the best way to put this? Let's look at it this way. If you get out of the system, don't that make you an immigrant?
Yes, it does.
So if you go try to get some land that you're not tied to and sit on it, don't it make you a squatter?
Yes, it do. And at any given time, it can be snatched from you. You have no rights to it. You put it in the trust. Listen, government got antitrust laws. So keep thinking that you can put it in some trust and have some fancy little paper sit there because you watched a couple of law cases on YouTube. Most of them people you watching on YouTube still in prison. Y'all better do y'all research. And why everybody keep telling you this law stuff, oh, they know this and know that. But can't nobody show you it's working. And most of the times when people get off, it's because they use it on a traffic ticket. And if you did the research, no municipal court wants to spend thousands of dollars of going through this felonious paper that you keep filing. That's why they let you go. Because half the time the charges be petty. Now get a major charge and see if that happened. I got over 200 videos to show you how that worked. And guess what? Court 200, solving 0. Keep playing.
The vision reads, scholarships to DC to visit your U.S. representatives. Why does that sound so familiar to me? LOL. Freeze reads, it's a systemic way to keep us to the tall and to keep us the tail and not the head, based on our own ignorance and dereliction of knowledge of self. Yeah, you get out the system, you're a virus. Trying to inject yourself as a foreign body.
Mm-hmm. You gotta go. Now, does it make sense? Does it make sense what we are doing here at the Tontinus Assembly? Does it make more sense why we take the approach and the stand that we take?
At the end of the day, let's take this to the streets. You're not from Chicago, right? You go into the hood, right? But because you claim that you are indigenous or autochthonous or from everywhere and nowhere simultaneously, you just gonna commandeer somebody's vehicle because it's on your land. I don't know anybody that's just gonna let you take somebody else's property without asking who you are and what you doing.
Mm-hmm.
So you think you just gonna be able to say, I ain't gotta tell you nothing. I'm just gonna commandeer this vehicle. And somebody gonna let you? What does that work?
Not over here.
It don't work anywhere.
Maybe in their head, you know, La La Land, wherever they at.
Tutor Vision says, when it comes to the speed tickets or traffic tickets, half the time the officer doesn't show up, so the case is dismissed.
Yeah, it's an infraction. Think about it. You're doing all this paperwork stuff to get out of an infraction. Then you sit here and brag like you beat the system. Really? The most you was facing in the beginning was $25, $30, $100 fine. Them people don't have time to go through all that for that petty chump change. They looking at you like, you know what? We got time for this. I'm gonna say it again. The dude that invented it is the KKK. It's their way, it's their way of thinking. And all people around here doing this, I'm so, oh, sovereign. Hold on. So you believe in killing us too? Because you're siding with the KKK? You buying them packets and that information and donating to them? Where's that going? The KKK? How many times we keep telling you, stop financing our own destruction, please?
And I have one request for those of us who have tribes, for those of us who are attached to a tribe. Can we hear more about the tribes that you belong to? Start sharing some information, because if you are attached to a tribe, I'm sure you know how you got there. Can you help us get there? Because it's one thing to tell us that you belong to a tribe, but we never hear anything about your tribe.
Facts.
How to attach to the tribe.
And don't bring this BS that it's private. No, we broke it down yesterday. There is nothing written in law, in tribal law, that states that you cannot use information to help and benefit. Matter of fact, it states that's what you're supposed to be doing anyway. So who's off code now? It makes you feel good because you brag to tell some people, oh, you found your people and you registered, but you ain't nan day try to help nobody else get registered. You ain't nan day sat down and pointed people in the right direction. No, we get on platforms and hold our noses up and make us feel like we better than those who don't know.
Now, shout out to the Indians that rep their tribe and talk about their tribe.
Facts. Much
There are
love
people
and
that are out there
respect.
doing it, so I don't want to insinuate that they're not. I'm talking about the ones that will tell you that they belong to a tribe and then it just goes into oblivion. You don't hear anything else about it.
Dudu said, I have received 10 scholarships to DC, and I didn't pay a dime to discuss community development and funding opportunities. Thanks, A2, putting the information out there to the masses. Thank you, Dudu Vision, for trusting us and allowing us to spread it on. Because it does take a trusting relationship. And like I said, you have my utmost respect. If nobody else don't know the work that you do for this community, we do. And we will always be in respect for that. Thank you for everything you have done and everything that you will continue to keep doing, my brother.
Free says to say otherwise is either ignorant or a fraud. Why wouldn't you want to help the tribes in a tribal way? That's a good question, Free. Antonio reads, raised hand, Nan. Nan ain't a W, never mind. Again, we must remember, there are things that are secret, there are things that are sacred, and there are things that are shared. If everything you do is a secret, what are you saying?
Really though, like for real, for real.
I understand sacred, but everything can't be secret and sacred. Not everything.
Yeah. How anybody gonna improve if everything? Antonio and no sellout. Y'all got my side hurting over here.
Pamela Hall says she sent out an email to the tribe yesterday and she's waiting on a response. See,
that's what's up. That's what we talking about. Taking the initiative, putting your best foot forward, doing your best. Shout out to Pamela Hall this rising, y'all. For sticking true and minded to her business. Respect that utmost respect. We only been saying this ever since what? Our inception on coming on YouTube.
Mm-hmm. If y'all want to find out a little bit more about Pamela Hall, she was the first person that we did a
community spotlight. Mm-hmm.
Check out. She dropped some major bombs when it came to genealogy. And some of the fears that many of us had, and to why some of us don't want to talk about our genealogy or our ancestry. So go check it out.
Scared of what you're gonna find in your family? Huh? Really? Over here, we're gonna find the truth, and whatever it is, no matter how ugly it looks, we're gonna face it and come out the other side better forward.
And we're gonna face it together.
You got that right.
And anyone that's out there doing genealogy and has found something interesting that you're willing to share, we're not talking about the secrets or the things that are sacred, but the things that you're willing to share, let us know and we'll do a spotlight on you as well. Because this ain't about, banging on your chest and bragging. This is about helping people and letting them realize and understand they're not by themselves.
Mm-hmm.
Helping each other is being tribal. Hiding stuff from people is not tribal.
What Copper Color Queen?
Doing what's best for them is not tribal.
The Copper Color Queen, she said, it's amazing how this is resonating with these past 5 years. My spirit wouldn't allow me to accept the out of Africa homeland with the Israelites because the land of the ancestors is here. They are against the 501c3s. Yes, and a lot of them are against it and don't even know what it is. They're going off of what somebody else told them. And the person that started this whole sovereign citizen thing is a racist. He don't want you around anyway. The man was in prison teaching it to our people. The
And
man
also-
that started it is in prison. How many years this dude got? Like forever, ever, ever, ever?
I think he got 44 years.
Woo! I just felt like.
Also, too, when it comes to genealogy, if you do have African in your tribe, I'm working on a relationship with a gentleman who's working with a lot of the tribes in Africa, who will definitely help you find your tribe and connect. Because this ain't about Indian or die or
Being better than somebody else.
Help everybody.
Yeah, if you need help and we had the resources to help you, we're going to help. That's what this is for. No ideologies, there's no egos here. This is one love for the love of our people. For 7 generations, we bring this and do this consistently for 7 generations. And any who get in the way, you already know what time it is. Just look at the people in the chat that proves respect the copper-colored queen. She took us up on the opportunity and reached out. Same thing with Pamela Hall. Let's don't forget about our young sister Danielle Jeffries that's out there doing amazing work. Amazing. At the age of 21, about to sit on the Indian Council at the colleges. Got our own business, though, for degrees, helping our young melanated women and children go to college debt free. What better time is it than now, my relatives? This is just the beginning. There's millions of us out there that been putting in the work. And I just want y'all to know the outlet is here for y'all to sit here and let the world know what you was doing. Because without you, we wouldn't be here. We couldn't speak from this platform. It'd just be the 3 of us looking at each other crazy every rise.
Dude Vision says, and for the record, West Africa is not a tribe.
You said, Pamela Hall said, I found out my dad's side, one of my great grandmothers in 1790 was registered as a free Negro.
Wow. $1790 is when the census started.
Yep.
It's powerful.
Non-free, don't forget your part in this too. Much respect, because you're very important. Very valuable to us.
Thanks.
Like I said, you that glue that keeps us holding together, whether you know it or not. The voice of reason, when it tends to get dark, you need that light to hear. And I appreciate you for always being that to me. Thank you, Doodoo Vision. I'm just glad that I met a group of brothers and sisters that can allow me to be me and to keep my promise to my people before my time is expired. And like I told y'all from walking through the door, hold me to it. Hold my feet to the fire. Please do. Because it's time. We have taken too many losses and pointed too many fingers. It's time. We're out to build something that will outlast us, to make sure 7 generations from now, our children's children can still have this outlets to never forget, to never go back, to never have to beg, hold their hands out where their next meal or shelter or clothes is coming from. I stand here today, I'm sorry for a lot of the experiences that we had to go through because we didn't know. But know this much, we can change that. We can make sure the next generation don't have to go without. If we went without, let's make it worth it. Let's make our struggles and suffer be their uprising. That's the least that we can do. That's the least that we can leave behind. Every generation gets a chance. Are we gonna be the one that was blessed to come into this information? We're gonna let it fade off quietly into that night? Are we gonna rise in the morning and scream with all the might from our lungs that the American Indian is still here, will never fade away again? So I ask of my people, as an A2 stand for you, stand with us, and together, let's build a better tomorrow. Together, let's make sure that the American Indian is never forgotten again. Together, let's make sure our names ring until the time of existence is over. The ink has already been dried. We just gotta show up the roll call and take our place. Like I said, we do it for the love. People choose to be any other place right now. Just like this rising and tomorrow rising and one after, I look forward to hearing and seeing you again. How you feeling over there, TMH?
Pretty good. No complaints.
How you feeling, my brother, no sellout?
I am groovy. I am groovy right now.
Feels good to be alive right now.
Yeah, right.
Feels great to be an Indian.
Yes, sir. Yes, sir.
That all of us can be any other place in the world right now. We choose to be right here in this moment, and it's not for nothing.
Mr. TJ says, glad I caught that cab beats walking any day.
And we appreciate you. We truly do. And every day we're going to continue to keep digging, to start the rising with them hard hats, shovels, backhoes, whatever it takes to get to the bottom of this truth. We do not sit here to claim to be know-it-alls, to claim to be scholars, to claim any false titles. We're just businessmen that come from different walks of life that know that there's something wrong. And we put up the fight every day to get to the bottom of it, willing to have the meetings with the Europeans that we have to clear the way for our people. And Dudu said Dr. MLK went to get the check. He just didn't make it to the bank to cash it. It's time to go deposit that check. I couldn't have said it no better, Dudu Vision. Thank you for that. Thank you, my brother. He got the check, y'all. They made sure he didn't make it there to cash it. Now it's up to us to pick it up. My brother fumbled the ball, I'm there to pick it up. Because we all need to lean on somebody sometimes. It does get hard, it does get tiring. Let each other know, like, brother, I see what you're doing and it's okay. Take that 5 minutes of rest and I'll carry the load for you. And when you rest up, let me know and I'll take a rest. Let's get back on code. Let's start back showing love for one another. And I promise you, the world will have no choice but to fall in line. They don't have to fall in line because we don't respect it. And if you don't respect yourself, who in their right mind will respect you?
Purple Color Queen said, right, that's what it's about, helping out people regardless. I would like to add a caveat to that. Helping out people and educating them and let them know what's right. Because there are times when we do things that are wrong and we don't know any better. Once we know better and we still choose to do wrong, then we either correct it or we leave them to their own devices. Because this is one time where we cannot allow a bad apple, a couple of bad apples to spoil the whole bunch. But I understand what you're saying, Copper Color Queen. The love is unconditional, but you gotta stay on code. If you see something, say something. If I say something and you upset because you're doing dirt, did I say something? That's problematic. Because you're not helping, you're hurting. And I'm not gonna allow you to hurt others because you're either too lazy, too scared, or you have a different agenda. That's not gonna happen out on my watch. So I don't have a problem with helping people, but I just need to know what your agenda is, what your goal is. Are you here to help, or are you here to hurt? If you're here to help, you can roll. If you're here to hurt, you're getting rolled over.
Mm.
He says, we got 10 minutes. Go a little deeper in how the utilization of the HUD allows the information to poster themselves up, like an overall how it happens logistically.
Well, we can take 5. I don't know, unless we can use a scenario dealing with A2 on what it is that we're doing in a scenario real quick.
Well, the best way to put it is, if you look at all the stores in your neighborhood, and you look at how they're funded, they're getting monies from the city and the state to help them run their business.
Because it's closely allocated to our neighborhoods or in our neighborhood.
Low income
neighborhoods get the benefit. They're built in low income neighborhoods. Our neighborhoods.
Yeah, the neighborhoods are not low income. The people, the residents, are low income residents.
Hold on though. No sellout. You know this, because we've been having meetings with cities and stuff on this, on what we're working on. What is the in your area, what medium are you considered low income?
Oh man, I can look it up real quick.
Let's shock people real quick. What is the dollar medium in your in your area? Now, hold on real second, we finna.
It's half of the average salary in that county, correct? So if you're making less than 50% of the average salary in that county, then you would consider income. So my county is Prince William County. The average salary in Prince William County is over $98,000. So if you're earning
$40,000
Prince William County less than $50,000, then you would qualify.
Yeah. Think about it. Making $50,000, you are low income. Now, who falls under that? Teachers, police officers, firefighters, and for every area, it changes. See, we have to stop failing by the eye test. Ain't the eye test what got us jammed up in this so-called created racial construct? And the eye test got us messed up on who's considered what? Your police officers and teachers. Why do you think that they can accept what you would call food stamps? Yeah, 80% of the median income.
So somebody do some research and just check these numbers, because I'm gonna give you a fact that may startle you. Less than 10% of the American population, you talk about single income earners, not couples, less than 10% of the population in the United States of America earn over $60,000 a year.
Yep, I do say it. Teachers, city employees, nurses, etc. Now, who the poor folks again?
Yeah, exactly. Look, I'm looking for the portal right now. Do I even need to? Y'all answering the question?
Yeah, we answered it already. My bad, my brother, my bad. Now, who the poor folks again? If you're teachers, city employees, nurses, policemen, firefighters, paramedics, the people that you look up, the jobs that you look up like, hey, that's good, them poor folks. So if you don't got one of them and you're going in as a service, what do you think you are?
So by getting those funds and making your business self-sufficient and not dependent on the government, that's how we can help the tribes. That's how we can help you. That's how we can help your family.
Doodle Vision said, say it again.
Less than 10% of the American population earns more than $60,000. So that means 96% of the population earns $60,000 or less.
No, Antonio, it's not even that high. If you think about it, he just told you only 10% of the population make over $60,000 a year. Think about it. In the area where no sellout I'm at, if you making less than 50 grand a year, all my life I've been poor, but it really don't matter no more. Come on, man. Stop, fellas, stop. The eye test will throw you.
Again, when you're indoctrinated, you think you know what something means.
Yeah, Free said something too. Who was MLK really speaking about? Who are the poor he was referring to? Homework for the day, go back and study the Poor People's Campaign. Who was on them lines with him? Who was marching with him on them Poor People campaigns? What so-called specific racial group that he involved with the Poor People's Campaign? Because before the Poor People's Campaign, I ain't gonna go too much deeper. Let him do some reading for lunch.
Univision says that means you po, and you po. All you are po.
Yep. Because all life I been po. And no sellout, put something up there for y'all to research. P-I-H. Y'all good at antonyms? P-I-H. Those 3 major words right there. Ooh, bring power.
Man,
any clues? Any clues? I guess we'll leave off on this one. Any clues on what PIH is from the chat? Anybody? Anybody? And it ain't Philly spelled wrong, so we don't want to hear that. Let's cut that one out right now.
You know I'm dyslexic.
Man, you messing up my team, man. That ain't that. Hold up, wait a minute.
Yeah, Doodoo Vision reminding you right now, Bernie Sanders was on the front line of the Poor People's Campaign. Y'all better go back and look at them videos and them pictures. Stop pointing fingers all the time.
They mad at him because he said no to reparations. They don't want to look up no Bernie stuff. I wonder why he said no to reparations.
Like Free said, check it out. The entrance to the next levels is in the code. What is PIH? And on that note, it has been a very, very, very great grand rising, like always with the relatives. We didn't really want to come in here and drop like 2 tons of dust and rocks and stuff all over you. Any closing remarks?
Yeah, this is another great show. I sent this one on my mama, so.
So what you saying? You ain't seen the other one?
Yeah.
He shared it with his mama. Hey, he shared it with his mama.
No, because I was literally all this stuff. We had this conversation last night, and Mom had this conversation also. So I'm like, wow, okay, let's go ahead and show her that it needs to be said. All of this needed to be said. We appreciate y'all, for the
allowing us to do what we do.
Yep.
Allowing us to be able to build this to protect our ancestors' ways.
Facts.
We have to understand that not everybody is going to be on board with what we're doing. I accept that. I accept that people are going to get in the way and that people are going to try to stop it. That's the reason why we're going to our own page, because I don't care what law you know. You start attacking personal businesses, especially nonprofits. My army's bigger than yours.
Watch me now.
At the end of the day, it's about getting the information out. And now you understand why being on code has more than just one meaning. Because if you're not on code, you won't be able to get the code. Hopefully you understood that. That's sacred. I relinquish the mic.
On that note, like my brother No Sellout put out there, you can subscribe to Autonomous Assemblies YouTube page. You can subscribe to the C.A.B. Grand Rising Show YouTube page. You can also find us on our own platform, which is www.autonomousassembly.com or www.aau.world. You can also send us an email at autonomousassembly@gmail.com, or you can also hit us up from the website. Send us an email direct link from there. You can register for newsletters. Even if you're interested in finding out what areas you can volunteer your time to help others in the community, you can reach us up there and find more information. And on that note, it has been fun. Always love spending the time with the ancestors. There's no better place I can think of being right now. And until we meet again, peace.